Hello everybody, this is Namtox from NTF Gaming, back with another factual opinion, the only place to get the correct opinion on the state of video games. And today we are taking a look at Devolver published, Slow Clap developed Absolver, a new action-adventure hybrid that takes elements of Journey, Dark Souls, and more combat-oriented games like a Bushido Blade and a For Honor, and kind of mesh it all into one game. Now, very quickly, I will go over the things that sets Absolver apart. Absolver, first of all, visually is very striking. The style, the art design, the environments, the characters, it all looks like something you've never really seen before. The way all the elements move, the UI, the animations, it's all very striking visually. It's an incredible sense of style, an incredible sense of place, and the environments are stunning to adventure through and journey and discover as you're playing through the game. The game itself has several pretty unique mechanics. Now imagine a game like a Dark Souls, but as you're progressing through your maze-like environments, you encounter other players in real time, and that's where it really starts to feel like Journey. You'll just see other players. You know, anytime you enter an area, the bottom of the screen will say so-and-so is into the area, and you can see them. You can see them battling. You can see them interacting with the world, and you can choose to help them, fight them. And the game is very focused on martial arts and a kung fu-driven narrative, and it's very inspired by that when you watch combat in this game unfold between two opponents. In terms of the combat, it uses a stance-based system. You have a unique mechanic called the combat deck, in which you can customize your combo strings and your heavy attacks and the way you flow from one of the four stances to the next. You have the basic attacks like guard breaks, you know, parries, things of that nature, things you expect from a combat game, and then with the unique twist of being able to learn every single move in the game by battling opponents. So say you're fighting somebody who has a style you don't have. As you battle them, you'll notice that every time you defend an attack, dodge an attack, or use one of three different defensive abilities, a parry, an absorb, and a dodge, you'll learn that move, and if you're able to win that fight, you will then gain that experience for that combat maneuver, and if you learn it, you can then slot it into your combat deck, therefore expanding your repertoire of attacks and allowing you to really customize your character to fight the way you want to fight. And it's a very cool system. It's really awesome when it works. When you're fighting one of your friends, you can just duel each other. It has the elements of martial arts in those respects. When you are like, let's spar, let's have a good training session, it gets that feeling across very well, and those are actually the strengths of Absolver, or when you're in those one-on-one duels, when you're playing with a friend or a worthy opponent, and you respect each other and you have a good fight. But honestly, at that point is when Absolver kind of falls apart for me, because once you get past that and you get into the game and you get into the combat, you then start to notice the things Absolver doesn't do correctly. Now, for a game that's so focused on martial arts and its combat system, the combat system upon closer inspection leaves a lot of room to be desired. Now, when you're playing through this game and you're encountering other players, one of the things you'll be hit by, at least so far after the first week of launch, is extreme amount of server issues. I mean, the server is constantly crapping out. If you're trying to play co-op, it'll be constantly buggy, dropping your connections, not letting you transition into new zones, just numerous bugs, and then you are forced to play the game by yourself. Now, when I first played this game, I did about an hour, went to play it again, and my save was corrupted because I was disconnected from the server while I was playing. I lost all my progress and I had to start over again, which in reality wasn't that big a deal because the game's single player content is just about 2 to 2.5 hours long. It's a very short game, and because of its limited nature, when you're not online and that's all you have to work with, you learn to memorize the areas very quickly, and then you start to notice the flaws. When you're battling NPCs in the environment, one of the things wrong with Absolver's combat is it's extremely poor at battling more than one person. The game feels like it was strictly designed for one-on-one fights, and when you're playing alone, almost every area you go into, you're constantly fighting 2 or 3 people, And the way the combat system is structured, along with the way the AI decides to attack you by just kind of diving all in, regardless of friendly fire, and your inability to quickly switch your targets when you're locked on and definitely move from one opponent to the next, it just leads to a very clumsy fighting system where it's very unsatisfying to beat multiple enemies. Often you end up trying to get near a ledge and hoping that the overzealous AI just kind of throws itself off, or you use one of your special attacks to kind of shockwave and push them off the edge to make dealing with a group manageable. You know, the game is so clumsy with its lock-on system that if you are surrounded by 3 people, it is actually faster to just remove your lock-on, fully sprint away from the combat, then lock on again and recenter yourself. It's not an elegant solution, and for a game so focused on combat, that is a very glaring issue that it has, and especially with the server issues being so rampant, most of the time you will be playing against just the AI and you won't have a friend there to help you, and that is when you really start to notice the flaws. And in terms of the flaws, the combat system is very surface level. It's very pretty. The animations, the way it flows, it all looks very nice, but when you start to really break it down, there's glaring holes. There's not enough depth or complexity with this combat system. It's very customizable, but customizable doesn't mean deep. Customizable doesn't mean easy to learn, hard to master. It just means customizable. You can customize the shit out of it. There's so many different attacks you can place in the different slots, but when it all comes down to it, the game is missing so many key features: a deflect system, a riposte, a parry, being able to grab an opponent and move them, being able to displace an enemy position, just guards. You know, the only advanced move it really has is a guard cancel. So you can attack, hit guard, you pull the attack back to do a feint, but that's literally the extent of the combat. There's not really a good back and forth flow. It's more of, I'm going to block your attack string or parry it, which then allows me to start my attack string and parry it. And I know if you have one-on-one and you have people who are very advanced at the game and can do the guard cancels at an effective way, you could probably get into some more advanced one-on-one combat situations, and that can be satisfying, but it also doesn't mean that it has enough depth there for the long term. I feel like in just a few play sessions, I've kind of hit the wall with Absolver and how far it'll let you take combat. Now, some people are going around saying it's the best combat in an open world action game. It's, you know, it's like way better than this and way better than that, and that's just incorrect. It's not better than Def Jam. It's not better than Bushido Blade. It's not better than even For Honor when it comes to combat choice. And in terms of a Dark Souls style of adventure, it's not as good as a Dark Souls or a Bloodborne or a Neo. And I feel like for Absolver to really push the boundaries, they have to sort of pick which lane they want to be in. Do they want to be more of a Dark Souls style game, or do they want to be more of a combat heavy focused one? Because if they knew, the thing is, either choice they make, they have a lot of work to get there. They have a ton of work because it's just kind of in the middle, and once you get past the initial impressions and the look and the flashiness of the strings you can do, there's not really much there beyond the surface to really dig your hooks into and to really get into it in a way that you're just going to master it and only play this game. I'm bummed out about that. I was really excited about Absolver, and normally that would push it down to a 3 out of 5 because you can see the potential, you can see where they want to go with it, and you know, I had fun despite the issues. The other problem though is this game so far is a technical mess. Like I said earlier, I've had my save corrupted. I've had multiple sessions where I fall into the world or the game won't remember the moves that I've learned from the combat deck, which means I have to grind out against AI to relearn the moves I already had. And for a game that's so focused on social interaction with the co-op and the PvP, I've tried playing this game co-op with my friends 8 times. Only one time was I able to have a really decent session where we played for a couple hours and there was no problems. Every other time I've tried to play, the servers are down, there's disconnects, crazy weird bugs, the combat moves don't learn, abilities get reset. It's just been a technical nightmare, and I understand that Slow Clap is a small studio. They're not a massive AAA developer, but that's inexcusable. There's too many times now in games where they expect you to put down, you know, $30 and then suffer through terrible servers and bad bugs and just glitchy crap and bullshit, you know, and you shouldn't have to deal with that no matter how small a developer is. They should be better equipped to handle this, and I'm tired of letting companies slide. Oh, because they're a small company. Oh, because they're indie. Like, that's no longer a good excuse. It's 2017, the tools are there. You have enough things to use, like beta tests and open demos and things of that nature, to get that right the first time. So with all of those problems stacked on top of the issues I have with the game's combat already, I'm going to have to give this game a 2 out of 5. Like I said, the game has a lot of potential. It has the visual look, the style, but honestly, that's kind of all it has, is the visual look and style. All the combat stuff is great on the surface, but nothing really deeper than that, and it just doesn't end up being satisfying in the long run. I don't have the burning desire to go in there and challenge other players and learn their techniques, because it just all seems so simplified and clunky with anything more than a one-on-one. So that's my factual opinion of Absolver. A lot of potential, but as of right now, that's all it is a lot of potential. Too many bugs, too many issues with the core combat design, and not enough depth to really keep me there in the long term. So I hope you like that review. If you do, please hit that like and subscribe. If you don't, leave me some criticism, leave me some constructive feedback in the comments. I'm trying to get better for all of you guys. Hope you enjoy the review. My name is Namtox. I'll see all of you guys next time. Have a good Labor Day weekend, everybody.